Hey, how you doing? It's Matt Darey in my studio in London, and I wanted to run through my debut album, which is out now on Armada. It's called Blossom Decay. I opened the album with a track as the title of the album, Blossom Decay. It kind of started with pianos and strings and guitars. I like to start a lot of my tunes with a classical kind of basis. This one happened to be half time as well. It was like a ballad sort of thing, like a dark ballad. It wasn't like a nice kind of thing, you know. And I kind of took the strings, piano, some guitars from my friend Richard James Smith, and then put these beats to it, put some kind of dark atmosphere in there. And I sent it over to Catherine Porter in New York City. It's the first time we'd worked together. We met through my manager, who lives out there in New York. The track kind of bounced back a couple of times. She did an excellent job on the top line. What she did was she took the title, Blossom Decay, that I gave her, and wrote her own interpretation of that title. I'd actually previously had a go at writing my own lyrics. I always do to songs, because sometimes they stick and sometimes singers prefer to do their own thing. Anyway, so we finished the track. It was amazing. I wasn't sure about it because it sounded a little bit like Massive Attack of 10 years ago, but my manager kept saying, "Oh my God, this is awesome. This is one of the best tracks on the album." And I was like, okay, well, let me try giving it a modern edge. So I rang up Adrian, who I've been working with in Hungary. He's a guy that I met. He does breakbeat in a similar way to the style that I was doing it in for about 2 years in the 90s. So he reminds me very much of that, but obviously he's very now. And we had a chat, and I decided the best way to go was to, you know, a half-time beat is a half-time beat, so we go for a dubstep influence in the track, but none of the crazy, silly cartoon noise kind of things, or nothing too crazy, you know, just the half-time beat in the main, and a little sprinkling of that kind of bass line just to groove it up a bit. Anyway, so this was the end product. This is Matt Darey with Catherine Porter on vocals and Adrian on the beats. This is Blossom and Decay.
Just be here. From sleep one always wakens. From death there's always breath. One life won't be forsaken. No regrets. No regrets.
So that was the opening track and title track, Blossom Decay. Bound to be a little bit controversial amongst the trance purists. I think that they some people love it and some people don't. It's like Marmite, something like that. Anyway, the second track on the album is, again, it started with strings and guitars in the studio with the piano, making up just a really nice melody and string arrangement. And I guess it was quite chilled. I mean, it was very kind of piece of beach music, you know, like Cafe Del Mar kind of thing. Anyway, I put under a house groove, like something like a sort of a Dead Mouse type beat, and sent it off to Jitta Lake, and she loved it. I was a big fan of hers from the track that she did. I forget what it was called. It was a beautiful track she did way back, and I've been playing it for like 3 years or something like that. Anyway, so she also calls herself Leah when she works on more trance-based tracks. This is kind of like somewhere in between trance and house, I think. She sent it back with an excellent top line, and I got onto the mix, polished it up a bit, then also sent it off to Coma as well. Coma did an awesome banging club mix, which is the mix that I play in my DJ sets most of the time, unless of course I'm playing on a beach or something. But it was a pretty awesome mix, and we filmed a video for it as well in China. But the mix on the album is the original. This is Hold Your Breath. So we're now on to track 3. The last track was Hold Your Breath. This track was probably, in the writing process, probably the most heartfelt track out of the whole album to me, because when I was writing the lyrics for it, it was based on an experience that I just had about a month before. I was in India, I had nothing to do, I was kind of sitting in my hotel room waiting for the next gig, and I needed to pass some time. I take my mind off things, because my mother 4 weeks before had just had a major heart operation, and she was literally hanging in there for her life for the first week or so. And when you see someone you love in that kind of condition, it really gives you a punch in the stomach, you know. It was something that left a real impression on me, and I guess the lyrics are about that experience, and it's called Chasing the Sun.
When the sun doesn't shine on the path that you are on, and you're walking in the shadow of your soul, there are many words you want to say, but silence, it surrounds you. Every time I close my eyes, I see your face.
is the first collaboration you'll hear in terms of tracklist number with Kate Louise Smith. I previously did a track called See the Sun with Kate about 4 years ago. She was hooked up with me via our mutual publisher, Notting Hill, and I was working on a project called Urban Astronauts, which was a guitar band sounding thing. The original See the Sun sounds like a Coldplay track. It was just guitars and drums, bass guitar, the works. And she came from a folk background, so it suited her very well to take that kind of step. I don't know if she would have stepped straight into a trance track, probably not. So we started working on the track, bounced it back and forwards. We had all the elements that she's very comfortable with in the background, strings and guitars and real sounding drums. Although they were programmed electronically, I used a drum program called BFD, which is really awesome. I mean, it's as close as you can get to a real drummer. And it's painstakingly, it's so painful, like having to, you know, change the velocities and everything at every single hit to make it sound real. It's probably much easier to get a real drummer in, but you have more control. So she was very comfortable in those kind of surroundings. We recorded to See the Sun, and then after that it really worked. We got a remix from Aerosonic, I'll talk about that later, and we decided let's do a load more tracks, you know, so we did 6 on this album. This one is called I Still Remember. It's with an awesome remix of Muse Arctic. The original version's very chilled out, it's kind of like half-time beats, classical sounding guitars, etc. So Muse Arctic, big thank you to you guys. This is I Still Remember. On the album was, in fact, I think the second single that we released on Armada. It's called Follow You, and it's a collaboration between myself, Stan Kolev from Miami, and Alen from the Ukraine. Now, I met Stan and Alen through my radio show. I was a big fan of their work already, so I hit them up, and separately, not particularly about any track, and they both said, yeah, I'd be up for doing something. The first thing that I worked on with Stan was a remix of the first track that I ever released, the first trance track that I ever released, called Lee Kwan .0. And he sent it back, and it wasn't really working, to be honest, but I love Stan's sound, and I just said, look, let's take this, pull it apart, put it back together, some guitars and stuff and a vocal, and I have just the vocalist in mind. And I suggested Alen, and he was, I'm not sure if he knew Alen at that point, but he was like, yeah, whatever, Matt, just go ahead. So I got Alen in. Alen wrote this top line, absolutely amazing, first time we'd worked together, and I just thought, oh my god, that is so catchy. It's really catchy tune. So we decided for single 2 to release this. Love how it turned out. It's very progressive house, very melodic, vocal. It's all the things that I love to play. This is Follow You. Track 6 on the album is probably something different to what most people know me for, because it's a house track. Again, I started off with string arrangements, guitars and pianos, which was the basis. The breakdown was where I started on the track, making a great piece of music, and then I worried about the grooves. In fact, the version that's on the album is probably the second or third version. I did one in a really sort of banging techno style, I did one in quite a mellow house style, and then this one was somewhere in between. It's influenced by that Miami sound as well. I actually spent a lot of time living in Miami, through no fault of my own, but I had a disaster with my house. It got kind of trashed by some burst pipes in the loft when I was in Miami, so I thought I'd live there for a couple of months while the house was repaired. And it's kind of, the clubs in Miami are all house, you know, house is just massive over there. So that was the direction it took. I hit up Los Angeles singer-songwriter Erica Driscoll for the top line, and she came back. I loved it. I just took one section out, one section I didn't like, stuck it all back together, and it was perfect. This is a track quite similar to the kind of music that I started making out when I think my first chart record way back in time was a house record, and this is that kind of going back to my roots in a way. This is called Too Far.
You are the one that caught my heart of mystery, and I don't know who you are, but I hope we go too far. No, I don't know who you are, but I hope we go too far. And I don't know who you are, but I hope we go too far. Tonight, 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 tonight. Yeah, I hope we go too
So next up, track 7 on the album is a track called Stillwater. It's another collaboration with Kate Louise Smith. We started off with a demo, flowing melodies, beautiful lyrics as usual from Kate. A lot of people say Kate sounds a bit like Madonna. I can kind of see it in a way, but also she's got her own unique sound. And the great thing was, for me, she was completely fresh to the scene. She was like a new voice. It helps give you a new sound. So we did the demo. It was cool. We knew we had a great song. The remix was by Colourless, who I discovered on my Nocturnal show. As with all my music, I listen to hundreds of tracks every week and pick out the best 10. And Colourless came up quite a few times. In fact, I compiled him on my Nocturnal compilation, one of his tracks, which was amazing. The end result is this. This is Stillwaters with a remix from Colourless. 8 on the album. This is a singer that I wanted to work with for a long time. I mean, at least a few years. It's actually Tomberlin. She's done so many awesome tracks. But the atmosphere she creates with her vocal is, I don't think anyone comes close. It's a unique kind of atmosphere. She's done so many tracks that I played in my DJ sets over the years that I hit her up a couple of years before and never heard back. I don't know why that was. Maybe I hit her up on MySpace or something. But anyway, I sent her a demo. It was again classical string break, guitars, and a real kind of house groove, you know, progressive house groove. And she's very much always been in the trance camp. And she hit me up straight away and said, yeah, I love this. This is kind of different for me. It's very refreshing. It was at a time when she wasn't inspired by anything she was hearing, and she got a bit of life back in the writing hand again. And I'm sure it was in just a few days, she sent back the top line, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's kind of one of those goosebump kind of vocals, which is, you know, just what she does. Anyway, so with a few tweaks from Brazilian remixer Louis B, who's absolutely fantastic, I called him in just because again I compiled one of his tracks on my Nocturnal compilation. It was one of his remixes, and he really worked hard on this one. He kept the essence of the original track, put in the guitars and some of the strings, made it a bit more groovy in fact, and the end result was amazing. This is Lost at Sea, featuring Ashley Tomberlin, Louis B on the remix. Track 9 on the album is another collaboration with Kate Louise Smith. This one is called Red Rising. Started off with a demo sounding something like Depeche Mode meets Felix the House Cat, kind of minor sound, electro sounding, and we finished the demo. Sounded cool, really great in fact. And then Aaron Aifa did a remix, and I thought, oh my god, that's so much better. So as I do, if someone does a better version of the track than me, I'll stick it on the album, because I just, you know, I want the song to shine in its best light. This one is called Red Rising, featuring Kate Louise Smith, Aaron Aifa on the remix.
Oh,
Track 10 on the album is a track with Tiff Lacey, who I've worked with on a few tracks, in fact, Always, Sum of All Fears, and at the same time as I did those two tracks, I did a track called Into the Blue, which never got released. I think that was about 4, even 5 years ago. I've had this track sitting around for all that time. It had beautiful guitars, spaced out synths, breakbeat, it was very kind of breakbeat sounding, and I was kind of, every now and then I listened back to demos that I never finished, and I mean, I have got so many, because I'm kind of, if I do something and if it's not hitting the spot, just shove it on the back burner. You know, I always think that maybe someday I'll use these demos that I don't have. In fact, in the process of making Blossom Decay, I think we had 17 tracks on the album, and 17 tracks which I didn't use. Something like that. There's a lot of unfinished demos in my world. I don't know if other producers are the same. Anyway, so I was listening back to my old demos, and I was thinking, yeah, this track's really amazing. You know, it's really an amazing track. We've got great parts, great guitar, strings, vocal. So I went to Aaron, he's my go-to man on this album. I went to Aaron and I just said, look, here's the song. Let's call this collaboration, and you get to work. And we bounced it back as usual several times until we got it right, and the end product was amazing. It's called Into the Blue, featuring Tiff Lacey, Aaron Aifa on the remix. Is the big hands in the air anthem of the on the kind of trancier side. It's called See the Sun. You probably know it from when I released it on my small independent label Nocturnal Global, which was an offshoot of the Nocturnal radio show. It features Kate Louise Smith on vocals, Aerosonic on the remix, Richard James Smith, who plays on all my tracks on guitar. It's one of those tracks that I think all DJs across the spectrum, you know, even the hard trance DJs were playing it, which says something for a track, you know, to get through onto those kind of decks when you're, you know, when you're not really what they normally play. So I always knew it was a good song. Aerosonic came along, and I think I met him at a festival in Russia in what do they call it, the Black Forest outside of Moscow, about a couple of hours outside of Moscow. So we worked on 10 different versions of the track. The original was guitars, strings, real drums, bass guitar, all that kind of thing, and we kept the same tempo, 128 BPM. Gradually got the grooves right. It had to be like really kind of grooving for me for it to work, because that's where I was at with my Nocturnal show. And the end result, after 10 versions and almost driving Aerosonic crazy, I think he'd probably shot me if I was there in person, it was absolutely amazing result, and I think everyone appreciates this track. This is See the Sun featuring Kate Louise Smith, Aerosonic on the remix. Track 12 on the album is another track that originated from the Urban Astronauts project. It's called Black Flowers. It started off as a moody, dark, gothic sounding guitar track with, with quite heavy guitars in parts of the tracks. And I'd done this track called Heaven's Earth with Delirium featuring Kirsty Thirsk about, I don't know how many years ago, quite a long time ago. Always loved her vocal and always meant to work with her again. Anyway, this was the point where I just thought, yeah, she's so good at that gothic kind of sound. This is perfect for her. So I actually had a go at writing some lyrics myself, but it was like 2 octaves below what she would sing. So I just sent her the instrumental and the title, Black Flowers. She loved the title, of course, because she's very from that kind. She's got that kind of gothic sound. So she came back with a top line. I think we bounced it back a few times, and it was probably the track which has the most obvious meaning. It's not very often you get a track that actually has a message to it. And it was very clear as well. Especially, in fact, we had a fan on YouTube made a video for it, which I thought was great. I actually sent her a DVD of a movie which is my ultimate. It was an amazing piece of photography. It's called Baraka, and she made a video for it. So that kind of helped get the message across as well. Anyway, so we completed the track, sounded amazing, and I played it to Josh Gabrielle probably about a year later after the track was finished, and Josh loved the Urban Astronauts project. It's very where his head's at as well, real guitars. He's got his band Dane, which uses a lot of guitars, and I know Josh Gabrielle and Dave Dresden both remixed a lot of tracks which were of that ilk, so it was quite natural for him. And he went away, took out some of the minor dark side of it and made it a bit more uplifting, translated it for the dance floor, and this is the end product. Black Flowers featuring Kirsty Thirsk and Josh Gabrielle on the remix. Track 13 on the album is a track that I wrote when I was staying in the mountains just outside of Las Vegas. It was midwinter, they've got this place called Mount Charleston, which is, it feels like the French Alps. Everyone lives in log cabins or wooden houses, piled up with snow, and it's only 40 minutes off the strip of Vegas, which is amazing. I was there for a while, maybe a couple of weeks, living in a log cabin and doing some writing when I wasn't doing trekking and stuff. They got some amazing treks up there, especially in deep snow. It's a lot of fun. The track, I remember writing the piano and the strings, looking out of the bay window across these snowy peaks like the Alps, you know, and it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is so inspirational, and that's why the track is called Altitude. I finished the track off. I got a good groove and everything. It was good, but I knew it just didn't have the edge. Sometimes I'll start a track and can't finish it, and I've been working with Stan Kolev on Follow You, and he's got amazing crisp sound. His beats are amazing, so he took the groove, really worked with it, made it so much better, and the track just took the track up to a different level completely. And Stan, even though he lives in Miami, he's lived in Miami for a long time, he's from Bulgaria, and in Bulgaria they have this traditional music which I just call Bulgarian chanting. I'm not sure what the real name is for it, but it's amazing. I've heard it in a few dance tracks from time to time in the past, and I always wanted to get some of this into a track. It's so atmospheric and mysterious to me because I can't understand the language, and probably the similar effect to other people hearing it around the world. So Stan got his friend Polly, who does a bit of chanting, or Bulgarian vocals anyway, and that was just the icing on the cake. That really made the track. So it had a beautiful instrumental, great vocal, which wasn't like in English for a change, which was quite refreshing. And this track is called Altitude. This is Matt Darey and Stan Kolev featuring Polly. Track 14 on the album is a tune which was inspired by really spending a lot of time in the clubs in America. Especially I was playing for Marquee, places in Vegas, Tao Beach and stuff like that. And the house music kind of it's kind of like a mixture of house and trance, and the kind of sound that I went for on this track was almost going back to my first ever house record. I had this track back at my first ever chart record, in fact, way back at the beginning of my career, and it's a similar kind of riff sounding, you know, very uplifting style, big, all guns blazing sort of riff. This one has my signature sound for the album, and what has been my signature sound for a while: strings, classical strings, guitars, that kind of thing. I was so close to adding a vocal on this, but a few people said to me, no, leave it as an instrumental, because I've been playing it out and people just go crazy to it in the breakdown. It's amazing. I still am going to add a vocal, I think, at some later date, because it's instrumentals to me sometimes seem a bit like unfinished works. I know a lot of people love them, but I'm very vocal orientated. I love to put a song, and I can actually hear a song over the top. In fact, the reason why it's called Hold On is because I had to go myself and penned a lyric and put down a guide vocal myself with my own voice, and it was a track called Hold On. So if I'd thought twice, I'd have thought, oh, I should really call this track something different, because I've already got Hold Your Breath. But I just took it as it was. Anyway, this is what they call trance, I think. This is Hold On, Matt Darey, the original mix. Getting closer to the end of the album now. Track 15 is another collaboration with Kate Louise Smith. I did the original demo was quite melodic but minor. It was a very kind of sad sounding track, but then again the beats and the groove and everything was quite uplifting. You could really dance to it. So Kate came back with vocal Black Canyon, and I thought it was amazing, and I sent it off to a couple of people, in fact, one of which was Taurus and Vangeli, and they just stripped the melody out and took the beats, these really slamming beats, in a cool way, you know, the beats and a sub-bass line, and I just loved it. It just gave the vocals so much space, and also they had the killer kind of breakdown moment which drives people crazy. I've been playing this out in my sets, and I was like, my version or their version, my version or theirs, and eventually I just thought, man, theirs is better, you know. It's you'll probably hear my version later on, but it's kind of more melodic, but I just love this. This is the one that's been happening in my DJ sets. This is Black Canyon featuring Kate Louise Smith, Taurus and Vangeli on the remix. Track 16 on the album is yet another track which started off life as an Urban Astronauts tune. It was with a vocalist who I always thought would sound great on an indie track, Sir Adrian from the Netherlands. He was a guy whose tracks I played in my DJ sets, like 5 years ago or something like that. He did a lot of tracks, and then I think he disappeared from the scene for a while. I wrote this track which sounded like U2. It was like U2, what was their first big hit? It was very, very much like that. New Year's Day, something like that. And he wrote this amazing top line over it, Reality Bites. And for this album, I thought, I wonder if I could get like a EDM mix to suit this album, because it was so far away from anything that's to do with dance music, and I bumped into Sebastian Krieg again on my nocturnal show. He'd done some amazing tracks of his own and remixes. I threw it over to him. He absolutely wanted to have a go, and he came up with a great solution. It didn't keep any of the guitars of the original track track, I don't think. It was kind of more just all synthesized, but it still really worked because so Adrian's vocals always were, that's where I first heard them. It was in an electronic, completely electronic backdrop, so they work perfectly. This is Reality Bites featuring Sir Adrian on vocals and Sebastian Krieg on the remix.
Fake it till you make it, come on over. Go and change and fight till you get over. It's like the real thing, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it, come on over. Go and change and fight till you get over. It's like the real thing, fake it till you make it.
So that's it, one big album, 17 tracks on the album in total. This final track is called Crown of Thorns, the 6th collaboration on the album with Kate Louise Smith. It started off as a kind of, you know, very EDM sounding demo with classical strings and guitars yet again. And I previously worked with Kate, as you know, on See the Sun with Aerosonic, and I just thought, hey, let's just give that formula a go one more time. So we bounced it back, the original demo with Aerosonic. I changed the string chords, I think, or was it this one? Anyway, and we got the strings sounding excellent, and then I was playing Aerosonic's Chicane, early Chicane, a track called Offshore, which has this most amazing piano breakdown. Always been a massive fan of that. It's like soundtrack music, you know, music for movies, and that is for me the defining moment of this track is when it just breaks down to that piano. It's just like, wow, goosebump moment. So that was it really. We finally got the demo sounding like something that we could release. We played it to Armin van Buren, only Armin I think, and he played it on his radio show. And I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because I was waiting on Armada for an answer to see if they wanted to take on the album, and I think after Crown of Thorns they said yeah, because Armin had played every track that I sent him so far that I was working on, and he was spinning them, so I think that made it very compatible with Armada. So this track, Crown of Thorns, the closing track, let me know what you think to the whole of the album. I would love to hear from you on my Twitter page. It's Twitter Matt_Darey or Facebook Matt Darey. Quite simple. You'll probably find the link, in fact, in this YouTube video. So check it out, let me know what you think, and I'll see you later. Bye.
For more info, check www.armadamusic.com.